buddy. We're back today for another episode of Tech Support Live. If it's your first time watching this show, we're going to go ahead and introduce ourselves, but everyone in the chat and everyone who's watching us right now, if you guys need any help whatsoever with your home network, or you have questions for us on how you want to choose one product over the other, drop it in and we'll get there as soon as possible. So just to introduce myself, I'm Angelo. I'm the Senior Interactive Media Specialist here at NETGEAR. I manage the YouTube channel, manage a lot of our streaming events, including this one. And yeah, I've been a part of NETGEAR for a bit, so let's have some fun. I guess I'll pass it off to the next person who wants to go.
Getting a little bit of feedback. Does somebody have their volume on their channel? Okay, great. I'll go next. Hi, I'm Ben Acevedo, Zardu Ben, Nighthawk Pro Gaming Brand Experience Manager. As you know, here to answer questions on the gaming side of things. I'll turn it over to whoever wants to go next.
Great. Hi, I'm Michael, and I'm the Technical Marketing Manager, and I get to play with all the cool tech that NETGEAR has.
Pro Gaming Brand Experience Manager. As you know, here to questions on the gaming side of things. Whoever wants to go next. Great.
Hi, I'm Michael, and I'm the Technical Marketing Manager, and I get to play with all the cool tech that NETGEAR has.
Okay. Guys, let us know if you have any issues whatsoever hearing us on stream. You know, we want to make sure that this is a good viewing experience for you guys. But again, drop your questions in and we'll help you out as soon as possible. So we have our first question. It's in Italian, but I think that we're all here confident enough to tackle it on. Darren, I think you have a translator side on your computer. You mind telling us what the question is and you know, how we can help him out?
Yeah, basically he's asking, he has an Orbee unit and he has two separate apartments and he's looking to connect the Orbees between the two apartments, and he's asking if he can use a LAN cable to do this, which would probably be the most stable way to do this. If you're able to connect it with the LAN cable, you would probably get a great connection between both apartments and get good Wi-Fi coverage. So yeah, it definitely is possible.
Yeah, so again, feel free to let us know. We'll be here actually until 2 p.m. Pacific time, so it's a 2-hour show. So if you have anything to follow up or you have any follow-up questions, you know, we're here to answer them. So yeah, let us know if we answered your question. Unfortunately, we don't speak Italian, but we have our ways of helping all you guys out. So yeah, let us know if that helped you out, and you know, we'll continue answering questions. So I didn't usually, we kind of have some filler questions to kind of help fill in the time. You know, especially if you know, we'll be here as long as there's questions in the chat. But how about I leave that up to you guys? I've been coming up with all these questions. I like to come up with a lot of these theoretical. You know, if you're locked on a desert island, what would be the one thing you would bring?
Definitely a boat.
Yes.
But what do you got for me? I want to see what you guys have.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Gosh. Well, okay. So I've got one. Considering that Michael is running stormtroopers in the background, I have the Enterprise in the background of mine because of the announcement of the Captain Pike spinoff on Star Trek. So the question is, Star Trek or Star Wars? Now I know Angelo's answer already, but we'll see.
That's a tough one.
Ooh,
especially since Star Trek has so many variations of it with all the different series. I think I'd still go with Star Wars, though.
Okay,
Anyone
one for
else?
Star Wars. Darren, what's your vote?
Never really been a fan of Star Trek. Never really sat down and watched it. So Star Wars. And I think if you're a Star Wars fan, you definitely need to go check out the Clone Wars cartoon. Even though it was made for kids, it was
Season
really
7.
good. Yeah.
That ending is incredible. It's probably one of the best. Like it that whole 7th season is definitely not a kid's season. Very, very good. Awesome. Angela, what do you got
you
for
can
us?
ask me. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Yeah.
All right. Let me tell you my history. Star Wars, I feel like I've had more exposure to, more chances to watch. I have maybe watched like the first 30 minutes of the movie. Star Trek. I only know it from our Twitch streams. I think that's the really kind of where we gotten it. You know, we from all the partnership stuff we've done with Star Trek Online. It's a tough one. Star Wars, I would say. I mean, I go to Disneyland and stuff like that. There you go. That's more exposure.
I
Go ahead.
I love Star Trek for its optimism, but if it all comes down to it, I definitely have to be a Star Wars fan. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. So 4 for Star Wars. Wow, that's amazing. So let's get
into
the
right background.
Yeah, I can switch. Let's just get into the into the question.
Let's do it.
Ricardo
Thank you, guys.
has a question. I wish to replace my $14 a month Xfinity Comcast rental of the Cisco DPC 3939 with a manufacturer date of 13.
Wow.
That's ancient technology.
Yeah, I looked that up, and that's a voice modem.
It's a voice.
So you would need one of our cable modems with voice, like the CM1150V or the CM500V.
Wow. Okay. So, just to kind of follow up, he has an upload of 6.3. No worries. Upload of 6.3 megabits per second and a download of 153 megabits per second. Not bad. My issue is that streaming Netflix on a TV in an upstairs bedroom is poor quality as it stops, or quote unquote buffers, right? Michael, you followed up on the C7100V and the CM500V, and what are our recommendations? I mean, the first thing that I would think of is the ones that you propose, the C7100V and the CM500V, that is just to replace the modem. It's nothing yet about the router.
Right.
Those two models are just modem only.
Yep.
So just coming from that, you're going to have to look into another router. And, this is something that we have talked about in our past live events, or at least like for Tech Support Live. If you want the best performance, if you want the best speeds possible, especially when you're talking about the range in your upstairs bedroom, you will get more out of that if you keep your modem separate than your router. We do offer all-in-one cable modem gateways that has a built-in router, but it looks like you have your eye on a modem already. I think our next question is, what kind of router do we think we should pair up with this kind of setup?
Well, any of the Nighthawk routers will easily cover the speeds that he's looking at for the upload and download. From the R7000 on up. If you want to get one of the newer ones, then and you're a gamer, then you would be looking at the XR500 probably, or the XR700. Anyone else have any suggestions?
No, I think that's a solid suggestion. And the difference between the 500 and the 700, it really depends on how many devices that you're running and your Internet of Things. But I would either one of those would be a great choice as well.
Yeah. Ricardo, let us know if you have any follow-ups. I guess my question for you, Ricardo, actually is, are those speeds that you have mentioned, the download, like with 150 megabits down, that's a pretty good speed. I'm curious to see if that is the speed that you're actually paying for, not the speed that you are getting right now on your current modem router setup. So yeah, that would be my follow-up. And I think Darren may have disappeared. Do you guys see him?
Oh no. Uh-oh.
Oh no, he went missing. It's okay.
I'm having internet problems. I'm trying to connect.
Ah.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Then you get to troubleshoot them.
We'll bring you back in
this
as soon as we can.
Yep. And also,
Yeah.
Ricardo had asked about, he'd looked at the C7100B and the CM500B. That goes back to your comments about having the modem separate from the router. But if he does want to have it combined into just a single unit like what he's getting from Comcast, then the C7100B is a good option for that.
Yeah.
It won't have quite the capabilities of separating the two, but it is an all-in-one unit that works with Comcast.
And really, that's the question. And we've talked about this a couple times with different suggestions, and it's really whether or not you want the convenience of being able to easily set it up and sort of fire and forget it with the Orbee, or if you want to be able to tinker your performance just a little bit and change things around. Woohoo! He's back now, but now we're all under different names, which is
right.
So these. But if you want to, just to finish out my thought, if you want a little bit more ability to adjust the performance and being able to adjust in real time, then the Nighthawk or Nighthawk Pro Gaming is more of the direction that you want to go. And then just to highlight, we're all like, working from home, putting these together from home. Bear with us. We don't have as great of a depth of our production bench as, say, Jimmy Kimmel or anybody, but we try our best. So
yeah. So we appreciate you guys, hanging out with us. This is something that we actually, started a little bit over a month ago. And we'll keep doing this as long as you guys have the questions and, if this is something that you guys, enjoy, because this is kind of coming from, some comments that we're getting on social. Some people, especially as we're all working from home, there's more people that have questions with their network. So again, put your questions in the chat, and we'll keep doing this as long as you guys continue joining this event. So thank you very much.
And we do know that there's a limit in the how many characters you can put into the chat for each comment. So if you have a complicated issue, please mark it like 1 of 2 or 1 of 3 or whatever you think that it's going to take in order to type it out. We really try to get to the follow-ups as well. So but yeah, keep those questions coming. Jose has a question. Actually going back, Eric Martin has a question. What are the plans for NETGEAR Armor for Wi-Fi 6 Orbi devices?
I wish I could
answer that.
I wish I could spill the beans on the product team.
Yep.
Of course, we have plans, and we have a roadmap out. Unfortunately, unless you see it in a press release, we can't say too much.
Yep.
I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah.
But stay tuned. Stay tuned to our social channels. We'll be rolling these out as soon as we can. But as long as you're here, subscribe to YouTube, and if you're checking us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, you'll be first to know when these services are rolling out. But they're on a gradual rollout, so stay tuned. Thank you for being a fan.
I definitely would say that, like, we tend to keep things pretty close to the vest until we're ready to announce it. It's almost like it'll be ready when it's ready. But those, if you think that it's something that we should definitely be looking at, we're probably looking at it. So it's a safe bet that that we're probably already thinking of it. We've got some really great product managers and designers that are always, they're looking at what you guys are saying. We tell them what you guys are talking about as well. So
Yeah.
we really try.
Yeah, and we want to hear those kinds of comments too, because we are, we're always in talks, we're always in meetings with the product team. So if you guys want to see something, these are comments that we're able to hand off, to the greater team. So we appreciate your interest, but keep it coming, because we see a lot of those comments. Who knows what we could tell them, and who knows what how we could get them to prioritize compatibility and rolling this stuff out, because that shows us that you guys are excited.
Yep.
Yeah. So we got Jose Delgado. When is the LTE Orbi coming?
Pretty much the same answer as what you just gave.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys.
Unfortunately.
Well, okay. Just to add a little bit more insight too, let's say coming from CES, a lot of times that, because we get some similar comments here. CES is our big kind of time of the year. We have a lot of announcements, but also, we gradually roll them out. So we might announce something, but things take time to manufacture and ship out. So again, very similar. These are comments that we want to hand off to the team. It's not something that I could say without getting in trouble. I hope you guys don't want me to get in trouble, even if I could tell you. But stay tuned. That's what I got to say.
And then those are follow-ups from Ricardo. So I think we're on to, CMAC?
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, will a Wi-Fi 6 mesh system work with a slow DSL Centurylink? My download speed is about 10, and my upload is 1 megabyte. 1 megabit. It will work with it. Your internal network in your house is going to be fantastic. Just getting out to the internet is, going to
right.
be.
It's not going to change the 10.
It's not going to
10 megabits down in the 1 meg upload. That's pretty much limited by the pipe he has going out to his ISP. But it will make his internal network and moving files around back and forth much faster.
Yep.
Yeah. So the way that I could kind of see that is, your network is only going to be as, strong as, let's say, imagine as kind of like the straw, right? So if you have a DSL modem, the way that I could kind of see that is that it'll kind of look like a funnel. Like you'll have a small straw, pulling internet from your neighborhood, but you'll have a big funnel, going into your house. So you'll have a strong future-proof network, but unless there's any way around the slow DSL Centurylink that you do have, you're only going to get about as much as the speeds as you're paying for. Yeah,
good answer.
Cool. Thanks, Michael. So we got a couple modem questions. So we got Bobby. So we got, which modem is best for my fiber internet from Centurylink as well? 1 gig up, 1 gig down. Wow.
Wow, that's fast.
Yeah. Do you guys have anything to recommend?
Well, we don't have any actual fiber modems. So that's going to be still controlled by Centurylink. We can add our own routers in, and then it's pretty much any of our mid to high range routers would easily be able to handle that.
Yeah,
So,
I think one of the things that has been a common question has, I got fiber, I don't like my ISP's modem. Is there a solution that NETGEAR has? And unfortunately, right now, fiber, they're really keeping that, close to the ISPs, and using, proprietary, setups. So that way, at the moment, we don't have anything in that offering. And, I don't know how it's going to be in the future, but right now, most of the ISPs are really trying to make sure that you're using their gear for fiber.
Yeah, which actually makes sense because right now, as they're rolling it out, they want the best possible user experience. And so as long as they have control of the hardware, at least getting into your house, they can be sure that you're getting, the best possible experience from them. As soon as you start going out to other vendors, you really don't know how good the quality is going to be unless you go with a company like NETGEAR.
Yeah. And even to give a little bit of insight, I mean, this is also something that I've mentioned in my personal situation. I have AT&T fiber. I do have gigabit. I would love to replace the modem. But yeah, unfortunately, I am, currently stuck on AT&T's offering. They don't want me to switch out the modem. But what I do have is an RX 200. So that is a Wi-Fi 6 router. It's probably one of our beefiest ones, if I gotta say. And my speeds continue to be phenomenal. Of course, I wish I had a little bit more control. And fortunately, I am not paying a little bit of extra. I guess I just have the hardware without having to pay a monthly fee. But yeah, I would recommend plugging in at least the higher end Nighthawk router, especially one of the Wi-Fi 6 ones. And if you move over to Wi-Fi 6, you'll be able to get those Wi-Fi 6 benefits, such as, it's really going to help out with congestion on your network. And also, if you have a newer iPhone or Android, you'll be able to get increased battery life. Sorry about that.
Decreasing the battery life? That doesn't sound like
yeah.
No, that doesn't sound good.
No. You want it's gonna be more efficient, I would say. I got my positives, which my negatives. So you get a lot of benefits there. But that's what I would recommend. Cool.
Let's see. So Eric says AX4 200 on your website says that it's supported, but we'll wait. Thanks. And that was on the Armor for Wi-Fi 6.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. Then we let's see. Shout out. Just thanks again for all the help of the last couple of weeks. Thanks, Mike. We definitely are. That's what we're here for. And then Enoch has a question. What is a good mesh extender for my AC 1750 Wi-Fi cable modem router?
What I would even start off with is, of course, especially on the show, one great thing that you could do is get personalized help. So actually, I would kind of knock the question back out to you is, what we would recommend is going to depend on the size of your house and even the materials of your walls. So let us know kind of like if you have a general idea of kind of like the square footage that you want to reach. And even if you have like the speeds that you're paying for from your ISP, that'll help us kind of give us an understanding of what tier of the mesh extender, either something more powerful or something, more cost effective for your home.
Yep.
Yeah, and also, are you putting this on multiple floors? Are you trying to reach? That's always a big thing is trying to get it to the upstairs or get it to the downstairs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And how much total area you want to cover.
Yeah, we'll give you a couple seconds and we'll come back to your question, Enoch. But yeah, if you can give us a little bit more information, be helpful. Matt says, NETGEAR Nighthawk app shows high speeds, but speed test shows slow speeds. It's really hard to know which one to believe.
Hey Matt, actually, let's go back up a little bit. I think we got stuck a little bit on talking about fiber. So there was a early question from Matt. Thank you again for checking back in on it. So I replaced my modem and router from Spectrum with a cable modem, a CM1000 V2. And Nighthawk X8, so the RX80, and then you also have the extender, the X8. I have the modem and router on floor 3 and the extender on floor 2, but seems like it loses the 5 gigahertz band a lot. I read yesterday that I should change my channel. Would this help? All right. So it seems like this one's about the AX8 and getting full speed from there. Curious, do you guys have any kind of input or kind of knowledge about anything going on with that extender?
Well, the first thing to keep in mind is that if you're going to be having Wi-Fi problems going through floors or walls and so on, you're going to be seeing it more on the 5 gigahertz than on the 2.4 gigahertz, because 5 gigahertz loses signal as it's going through the wall. Normally, if you're just going through one wall, there isn't going to be that much of a problem. But it's a good thing to keep in mind that if you're going to have Wi-Fi problems, the 5 gigahertz is going to feel it more to start with, because it loses a lot more signal. And since he mentions it's on floor 3 and the extender's on floor 2, that means he's actually going through flooring and not just the composite walls. So there could be a lot of piping, et cetera, in there, which could be affecting his 5G. So that's a possibility of it. You could try changing the channel. You could try going to channel 161 if that's available. That's a good channel for the 5 gigahertz to be on. And also moving the extender to a different location on floor 2. You could try that as well to make sure that the location it's in isn't also causing some of the issues. Anyone else have things to toss in there?
No, I think that covered it. Well,
Yeah.
once again, Michael just just covers all the bases.
Yeah, it's like you're so good. You like demolish anything I was about to say. I guess kind of to follow up. Yeah, no, thank you, Michael. Is that from what I understand, the higher the frequency you go, the more it's going to be impacted by the range. Like your speed is going to be more affected if, let's say, you're out of line of sight, or if you're passing through walls, especially with more, like let's say like a brick wall, like a 5 gigahertz band is going to have a really hard time going through there. The 2.4, however, will have a little bit easier. Just like this is just based on the science of radio waves. I'm trying to kind of get myself back thinking into it. But always kind of like think about the 5 gigahertz network is going to give you those faster speeds. It's going to be less congested compared to the 2.4, but it's going to have a harder time traveling that distance and going through walls, especially going through floors.
Yeah, and a good example of that is with 11AD that runs at 60 gigahertz. And that's something, the frequency is so high that it doesn't even make it through walls, even standard walls. So as the frequency goes up, it's going to have more of an effect when it tries to go through objects.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
And the type of object is going to have a bigger effect, the denser it is.
Again, mastermind at the science of it. Makes it really helpful to get a little bit more insight into the technical aspects of your network. Not a lot of people know about that. Just a quick point. He did just comment. Should I make it an access point instead of an extender? So this is for the AX8. You guys have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, that really shouldn't make a difference on it unless he's actually hardwiring into it. But turning it into an access point or the extender, they're doing basically the same thing. So that shouldn't have any effect on whether or not the 5 gigahertz, if he's losing it.
Can you hardwire the AX8 through Ethernet?
I believe so. Okay. Let me do a quick check to make 100% sure, but yes.
Yeah. We'll go ahead and check that. But if that is the case, then that might be able to deliver better speeds in terms of that floor.
But the hard part there is actually getting a Ethernet cable from floor 3 to floor 2.
Yeah. That'd be assuming your house is hardwired through Ethernet. So again, a lot of multitude of factors here. But again, we'll be here till 2 p.m. So feel free to put in your follow-up questions. We want to help you guys out as much as possible. So bear in mind with us as we continue to follow up, because I know sometimes these questions stack up. But that's here because we want to give you guys these quality answers.
Yeah, and Michael, can you check to see if I think we're getting an echo on you through Zoom. Just double check to see if that's muted. And then where are we at? There's so many questions.
I know. Thank you guys again. We really appreciate this. So here we went back up to Matt to help you out with your speeds with the AX8. We got Bobby with the fiber.
He had the speed test question, which is the Nighthawk shows high speeds and speed test. The speed tests are always a little bit iffy. You always want to make sure that like you don't have anything else running when you run a speed test, and also proximity to the router is also another issue that could be a factor. Everybody wants to be right next to the router to test it, but that sometimes can also give you a misleading speed test. Michael, you want to expand on that?
Yeah, also the speed test app, I believe, is using the same previous speed test that we did before, and that speed test is actually being run from the router out to the internet. So it's basically giving you what your internet speeds are that are coming into your house, but not to your actual client device. So if you're running the speed test app on your phone, for instance, or NETGEAR Nighthawk app on your phone, and you're running the speed test in that, the number you're going to get is actually what's coming off of your router and not off of your phone. When you run the speedtest.net from your phone, that's actually the speeds that are coming to your phone. So it's showing you the loss of speed that you're getting going through Wi-Fi from your router to your phone, as opposed to just seeing how good is the pipe coming from the internet down to your router.
Yeah. Wow. And that's something actually I've learned over the past couple of streams. I actually wasn't aware of that, So it's there's that difference, client to internet versus your router to your internet. So and also that's where that discrepancy would come.
Yep, and also when you're running speed test from speedtest.net, for instance, make sure that you're picking a server that is close to you, and if possible, is actually your ISP, because you want to actually get the highest possible speeds that you want to see the highest possible speed that you can get. And there are times when speedtest.net actually picks a server out there that really isn't giving you or showing you your fastest speeds. So picking the one that's actually your ISP should show you at least what your top speed can be.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Michael, for your comprehensive answers as always. So Matt, let us know if you have any more questions, and of course, we'll be happy to get to them. But yeah, let's start going through the chat. They're starting to stack up a little bit. We got so we helped out Bobby with the fiber. Now we got CMAC Sim UK. I may be going to Blazing Hot, which is cell tower data. Can the Orbee Wi-Fi work with a cell tower modem?
It shouldn't matter which modem that it's connected to. As long as the modem has a LAN port on it that you can connect the LAN port of the Orbee router to, there shouldn't be any issues with that. I've never heard of Blazing Hot before, so I'm not sure how good their system is. But as far as the Orbee connecting up to their modem and being able to talk out to the internet, yeah, there shouldn't be a problem because it's pretty agnostic there.
Yeah, I do agree. As long as you are able to get Ethernet from the modem to the Orbee, it's going to see it as a regular modem, because that's what a modem does. It's going to be able to kind of translate, I guess, that internet into something that the router can route.
Yeah.
So actually, that kind of goes back into even our Orbee LTE. The only kind of difference you can kind of see there is that the Orbee LTE has the modem built in, still powered by LTE, but it's built in. Here in your situation, you have it in separate units, but it's still going to work in a similar fashion.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool.
Yep.
Awesome. So we'll keep going down. Ben, this one sounds like it's for you. We got Dynamenos. Hey guys, how are you? Great. I have a problem. I have a NETGEAR XR500. When I put geofilter on the country that I have the lowest ping, it shows the server. It doesn't block, but it stays on the lobby. In search, doesn't find a game. And I'm playing on Modern Warfare Warzone.
Okay, Darren, our first question back is going to be, God, are you playing that PS4 wireless or wired? The second one is, So you're getting he's stuck in the lobby, but it's not connecting to the game server. My suggestion would be to open up the geofilter a little bit more. Would you concur on that, Darren?
Yeah, I think the geofilter is probably too small. As
That's what I think.
Warzone is a server-based and not peer-to-peer, so it's probably just not finding that Activision server inside whatever you have your geofilter set to.
The good news is that Activision has been very good about placement of servers around the world. So it's not like some titles where they only have one server and it's out of like Chicago, and everybody has a terrible time. But I would open up the aperture for your geofilter just a little bit more, and see if that has basically it's gonna be a little bit of trial and error, but you want to open up that geofilter enough that you can get that game server that you connect to, and then from there you should be able to have that. You're not having the problem with BO4 mainly because that's a different game and it has a different set of servers. But you're also it's a little bit of some trial and error, but once you get that, you should be okay.
Mm-hmm. And just to follow up the first party question, he is wired through Cat6, in case that makes a difference. But do agree. Open up that geofilter, should be able to help you find more servers to play on. Cool. All right, so we got Suarez the Boss 9. My router is registered to another account. I bought it a year ago, and I need to get rid of the DDoS attacks. Wow. Okay. Do you guys have anything first? I mean, I would say that I think we need a little bit more information, but do you guys have any?
Yeah, definitely, because whether the router is registered to another account or not, that shouldn't have anything to do with DDoS attacks that he's seen on the router. So there's probably some more information that we need. Like, is he having problems logging into the administration screens on his router? Or where's the actual problem that he's seeing?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Suarez, again, feel free, to send in your follow-ups. It'd be great to know. Even what kind of router you do have, what you're trying to access, if you have problems logging in, and a little bit more information on these on the DDoS attacks you're experiencing. All right, we got a follow-up. He says, I bought it online. So don't worry. Shouldn't really matter which router where it's registered to, but yeah, feel free to let us know what you're trying to access. Oh, I bought it online from a person.
Let's see. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And we'll continue helping everyone out as we go down. And if we do also need a little bit more personalized help, we also have an email that you could reach out to. Oh, okay, here. You can't update the router.
Can't update the router? If he's talking about updating the firmware on the router, as long as he can log into the admin screens on the router, he can tell it to automatically update, or he can manually download the latest firmware from our NETGEAR Support site, and then he can manually update the firmware that way.
Mm-hmm. And I'm also curious too, even after you bought it, we would recommend you to reset it, just to clear out all the settings that you might have had from the previous owner. Traditionally, if you have a little paper clip, this can be a little reset button on the back. I would also, if you haven't done that already, that would be the first thing that I would have done in order to update the firmware, get into the software, and personalize it for your own network. Cool. Well, feel free to keep on sending those follow-ups. We do have a lot of questions, so we'll keep going down. But appreciate you guys, sticking with us through the show.
Yep.
We got shout out from Chris. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to you
Friday,
guys.
Happy Friday, Chris.
Awesome. Thank you for joining. You're welcome, Bobby. Hopefully all this helps. And then, wow, yeah, we're actually halfway down through the chat. So let's keep going. So,
Matt had a follow-up. Should I make that extender? Should I make it an extender or an access point that's on the second floor, while everything else is on the first or third floor? The extender is really kind of an access point in itself.
Exactly.
I don't
really,
think that would make much of a difference.
No. Normally, when people turn something into an access point, they're usually meaning hardwiring into it.
Yeah.
So it's basically an actual physical connection onto the other floor. And if you can actually run an Ethernet cable to the second floor, then he could turn it into an access point, and that would give him better connection speeds. But otherwise, no, an access point and an extender, they're basically doing the same thing.
Yeah, and just to follow up, so Matt, one, thank you again for joining. We appreciate the kind words. That's what keeps us going and lets us keep doing this show. But I see your follow up on the bottom of the chat. So I took Michael's advice to change the channel to 161 on my router, but the highest channel is 128. Should I change to 128?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Try going up to the highest channel, 128. That way, there's the least amount of overlap to the channels surrounding it.
Awesome. And Mike, I see you helping everyone else in the chat too. So thank you. That's what we want to see. Again, we're here to provide our expertise, but if you guys have any input, of course, feel free to keep the chat going. We love helping you guys, and I hope you guys feel the same way.
Yep.
Cool.
Tima has a question. Which good laptops for modem Netgear? I think all of the laptops work pretty good with our modems and routers.
Yeah, what you would want to do is match the laptop's network Wi-Fi network card up to the modem, or which would be a gateway for your Wi-Fi, or your router, to make sure that you're maximizing the speed. So if your laptop supports 11AC Wi-Fi or Wi-Fi 5, then you want to make sure that the modem, or your modem or router, matches up to that. You want to always make sure that you can at least do the maximum Wi-Fi speeds that your router is actually going to support.
Yeah.
Yep. Robert, welcome back. Is there any way to reset your router with factory settings from the Nighthawk app? Not at this time. I don't think that you can reset the router, but you can't reset factory settings.
Right, and you really wouldn't want to do that through software because of a couple of reasons. One of them is you could accidentally click on it and do a complete factory reset on your router. And most of the time, people have made some changes to their router, even if it's just their SSIDs, and now they're locked out.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that if you do remotely reset your router, then you're not going to have access to it until you actually physically get to your router again. So it's always best to have a manual way of doing a factory reset. So if you're doing it, that's exactly what you want to have happen.
Yep. And to answer Robert's other question, yes, I am on the USS Enterprise. Doing it I love Discovery Season 2. I loved Captain Pike. Captain Pike has his own spin-off series today, so I thought that it would be appropriate. So so then let's see. Let's where are we?
All right. So yeah, Tima, we helped you out. Let us know if you have any follow-ups. Robert, same to you as well. We love hearing this. So, all right, we got Enoch. Enoch
has a follow-up. So we asked him. So he was having the issue. Let's go back. What's a good mesh extender for his AC 1750? And he has a 2-story house, about 3,500 square feet, and he's paying for 300.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, any of the Nighthawk extenders would be would be fine. I would imagine the 7,000 or the 8,000
Yeah.
would be pretty good. And the other thing is both of those are tri-band, so those would probably outlive actually your modem, which is a dual band. So if you moved to a tri-band router down the road, you would be able to get the benefit of having one of those bands act as a backfill for that extender, and you'll get a much higher speeds out of that extender. But I would go with either the 7,000, the 8,000, the Nighthawk extender, because you're going to get a little bit more life out of it, and it'll probably outlive your 1750. Well, I'm going to end attack.
Hey, someone just beamed on board.
She did. She did. She did.
Yeah, I do agree, Ben. Yeah, really good answer. So feel free to check those out. You have any additional questions? Feel free to keep dropping it in the chat. All right, we got Elio Rosco Jr. Oh, Elio Rosco Jr. Modem CM1100 and router X6 R7900P with switch GS308P. Great. For gaming and smart TVs are hardwired. Would link aggregation between the modem and router benefit me? I have 400 megabits down and 25 megabits up. Link aggregation. Do you guys have any insight to that one?
I would have to check to see whether the CM1100 even supports link aggregation. In general, if he's actually getting the 400 down that he's paying for, then doing link aggregation, probably you're not going to see any difference, because if you're using link aggregation between the modem and the router, then the bottleneck is going to be the other side of that modem that's going out to the internet.
Yeah.
And the biggest reason for link aggregation is to actually expand the pipe that you have. And the other end of the modem is going to actually be a single lane instead of the 2 lanes that you're doing through link aggregation. There are some modems that actually do have dual ports specifically for this, but that's for having a lot of traffic going in and out. And so it can kind of split the priorities between the 2 of them, just hand it off back and forth. But in general, link aggregation between the modem and router, you're not going to see any big effect if you're getting the full speeds from your ISP already.
Wow, awesome.
Yeah.
Couldn't have said it better. You definitely would have said it better than me. Thank you, Michael. Yeah, Elio, let us know if that helps you out, and we'll keep helping you out. So we got a follow from Bobby. I need to get a router because the one I have now is not pushing out the speed I'm paying for, and this is for the gigabit fiber.
Yeah.
So yes, just to follow up on that one, I would recommend something kind of similar to my situation. I think we're in kind of similar boats. We both have gigabit speeds. We could only get fiber from the modem that the ISP gives us. Personally, for me, the RX200 has been working great for me. We're able to power the stream from 4 different locations onto a show that we live stream weekly, along with doing Twitch streams 4 days a week on our Twitch channel. And I'm doing that all wirelessly, so I actually don't have my house wired through Ethernet. And I think what you really have to do is just kind of get a router that kind of like in that funnel analogy that I had a little bit earlier to just get the most power that you can out of that fiber. Because again, like, you're stuck on their fiber modem, but you want to have the biggest draw possible. So something like the RX200, even maybe something like Orbi Wi-Fi 6 could be a good benefit for you, because if you have gigabit speeds, you are in that top whatever X% of people who have gigabit speeds. A very great position to be in. Something I'm grateful for too as well. But you want the best hardware possible for that. And we do have that offering. I would look at something like the RX200 or Orbi Wi-Fi 6.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, let me know if you guys have any other recommendations. But something beefy and powerful. That's what I'm gonna lay it down for.
Yeah.
Kumar, hey team, what's up? Thank you for coming to the show. We appreciate you being here. Hope to see a good question from you. And then we got a couple follow-ups. So Enoch, yeah, he does have the modem router upstairs and needs the mesh extender downstairs. Just to follow back up, something like the EX8000, the EX7000 will work great for you. Depends on what form factor you want.
And one of the things about the mesh extenders, and I know that we mentioned this in a previous show, is that you always want to connect it, like when you're connecting it to get it set up. And this is what I did with mine. I actually set it up in the same room as my router first, and then I moved it to where I wanted it. That way I could make sure it was connected, all connected up, and I didn't have to go down the hallway and go check it and then look at it and then go, oh, well, it's not working. Then go back to the router and then go back to the extender. It just from a mental health perspective, it'll save you a little bit of some headache if you just do it all in the same room, get it set up, get it working, and then move it to where you want it to go, and then set it up at its final position. I don't know if you want to add to that, Michael or Darren.
Actually, yeah, there was one additional thing I was going to add to that to sort of piggyback what you just said. Also, when you're connecting up any new networking hardware that's straight from the factory, usually it has to upgrade its firmware because the firmware that's on it is probably going to be a little bit older because when they're made in the factory, they're shipped out, they sit on a shelf. A few months have gone by and usually there's updated firmware within that time. So while you're doing the setup, you're also going to be doing firmware updates. And you want the fastest speed you can with the firmware updates. You want to make sure that everything is taken care of before you move into the other room. So this also helps making sure you get the firmware updates done and everything up and running before you actually move it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Really great advice. That's something I don't even know if we put in the user manual, but you can only get if you are here on the show. So we hope that that little tidbit has helped you.
Yeah, and
I can guarantee it's not in the user manual.
Yeah,
we don't put those in there.
But it's a good
here.
tip for those out there because not when we started at NETGEAR, not all of us were like network experts at any stretch of the imagination, and just trying to set something up. I know from personal frustration, I'm like, why are you purple? And then like I moved it like 3 feet, and then now it connect. And it would have just just saving yourself. I'm always a big fan of saving yourself time, effort, and headache, and just set it up as easy as possible, and then move it to where you want it. And then awesome. Let's see, Linda.
We got Linda Hamlin. Yep. Awesome. So thank you very much. I recently purchased the Nighthawk AC 1900 model R7000. Is this setting okay for the security WPA2? Epson printer loses Wi-Fi at times, and I am not using Smart Connect. So is using WPA2 okay?
Yeah, the first answer is if the Epson printer actually connects up to it and works, then we know it supports WPA2 PSK. In which case, yes, that's fine, because all that is just a security protocol on your Wi-Fi connection. You might want to double check where the printer is located, how good of a Wi-Fi signal is it actually getting. And one way you can do it is with your phone. You can try connecting up and checking your phone's Wi-Fi just to see how many bars that you're getting. Even though your printer's Wi-Fi card in there is not going to be as good as your phone is, because that's sort of a side thing to the printer. But you should check that. You might need to make sure that, or you might have to move the printer a little bit someplace else. If the printer is shoved on a cabinet shelf underneath, you'd want to put it on top, because anytime you have an enclosure, you're going to hurt the Wi-Fi signal. Those are a couple of things that you could look at. But as far as the security, as long as it connects in, we know that it supports WPA2 PSK, so that shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, and I have a Canon printer, and it would lose connection all the time. until I moved it out from inside the bookcase to on top of the bookcase. And you would think that just, I don't know, half inch of pine plywood or whatever the shelf is made out of wouldn't stop the Wi-Fi from the printer, but it did. And so, yeah, just double check where it's located. I can definitely say environmental factors.
Yeah, I don't
Yep,
think
and
the
also-
top dollar on those chips, putting it in for the Wi-Fi chips in those printers are really a second thought for those printer companies.
Yeah,
And also, I was going to say, and if the printer supports both 2.4 and 5 gigahertz, most of them don't, because there's not really a reason to do 5 gigahertz. But if they do, make sure that it's connecting on the 2.4 and not the 5, because the
Yes.
2.4 will go through material a lot better than the 5 gigahertz is going to.
Yeah. And it amazes me about printers because it's actually cheaper to buy a new printer than it is to replace the ink. So
Most of the time, yes.
keeping that in mind, I'm really wondering what sort of Wi-Fi chip that they actually have there.
They're very, very cheap.
Yeah. Printers never fail to boggle me in terms of, I feel like I could set up anything gaming, set up whatever, computer streams, whatever. Printers always never cease to fail when it comes to me.
Yep.
That's just a personal anecdote.
I've had printers that I've plugged in wired and they wouldn't get, connection. So
Multitude of things there.
Multitude of things.
Awesome.
Matt says, thanks, guys. Appreciate the help. Great forum for information. Thanks. That's exactly
Thanks, Matt.
why we do this.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate the love. These are all comments that really, it's not just us. People are, from all of NETGEARs really. They get an eye on these streams. So, we love hearing those comments, and that's what's gonna let us keep doing these. So thank you, Matt. All right,
Robert?
So we got Robert.
I commented on that.
Yep.
We're back to Dynaminos. He's wired Cat 5. GeoFilter covers the entire country. I have it at 574 kilometers, and he's still not connecting. So the question would be, are any of the Call of Duty servers popping up in your within your GeoFilter? I would imagine at 357 miles or 574 kilometers, you should have something pop up. Darren, do you have any other insight on that? But I think that he should have like one of the Call of Duty servers pop up within that range.
But it's all aggregate.
I was just looking it up. Guessing he's in Europe, by the way.
Yeah.
US.
They have servers in Germany, Netherlands, Ireland, France.
Yeah, because if he's in the UK, Ireland, and France,
Italy,
pop up.
and London.
Pretty much anywhere on the continent, either Germany or Italy should pop up. Let us know where you're at, Dynaminos, and we can kind of we'll try to narrow down the range from there.
Yep.
And then Kumar has a question.
And technically.
Using an R8000, created a Ready Cloud account, unable to register my Sony USB storage to my account. I tried upgrading my network account as well, getting an invalid user password. Please help.
So, Darren, who in support should he be talking to have them look into his Ready Cloud My NETGEAR account? Because if his username and password isn't working, they're about the only ones to go through to actually get that corrected.
Yeah, support themselves or CCT. I believe that I have a KB that lets you send an email to them about registration issues and stuff like accounts. Let me get that for Angelo to post.
Yeah. Feel free to Darren. Yeah, feel free to send me any links, and then I'll go ahead and post them into the chat.
More participation.
Cool.
And I have specifically gone in asked them about my finances.
And for the next
I
one, as
just-
far as saying that he can't update the router that he bought, the used router,
Yeah.
the first thing you should do is a factory reset on it, because you want to make sure that it's back to factory default, so you know that the login is admin and password for the admin account. And then if you don't have the sticker on there telling you what the Wi-Fi username and password is by default, you'll need to wire in a laptop to the router, and then you can go to routerlogin.net, and then it's admin and password to actually get in. Then you should be able to go to the right settings to tell it to automatically update firmware, or go to NETGEAR Support for that router and manually download the latest firmware and then upgrade it. If you give us a little bit more details when you say you can't update the router, that might help. If it's a problem getting into the router, or whether it just won't take the firmware when you try to update it.
Yes, please do. No words.
So yeah, let's try to help you out to see what kind of hurdles we got to jump over in order for you to get into the actual routerlogin.net, just so you could be able to manage it as if, you know, we're your own router. And I see your follow-up, and I try to access different sites on the Wi-Fi, but sometimes it just says it's unavailable. Like YouTube on my TV, it sometimes says unavailable.
Yeah.
So we're hitting some sites work and some sites don't. Do we know anything for that?
Not really. None of the sites should actually be blocked in his router. The one test, of course, is when he's saying that it's unavailable for YouTube. Are other sites available at that time, or is it basically he's losing internet connectivity right at that point? Is it only YouTube? Does he see this on other sites as well? Because normally the router shouldn't be blocking anything. There is no particular site filtering.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally agree. And then one last follow-up, just a little bit farther down the chat. Will the firmware update help with DDoS attacks, or the DDoS attacks?
It never hurts to upgrade the firmware. I would say most likely it's not going to, because DDoS attacks are something that routers have had firmware security against for years. And there haven't really been a lot of innovations in addressing DDoS attacks. Basically, when they start attacking it, it just starts denying any connections to them. So it probably wouldn't, but it absolutely never hurts to upgrade the firmware to make sure if there's any bugs or patches that you get it upgraded.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, let us know, Suarez. We'll continue to be here. We just hit a little bit over the hour mark. So again, 2 p.m. BT, that's Pacific time. That's when we start wrapping things up. But if you have any additional questions, feel free to drop it in the chat. Awesome. So we answered a few of these questions. We're really catching up here. So Mike, let's go to you. Mike Tonelli, what is the difference between the PL 1100 and the PL 1200? I couldn't find anything major other than a $10 difference.
Yeah, I think basically it's the speed on it. And I'm quickly popping this up just to see if I can get a speed difference between them. Because I know the PL 1200 can do a maximum of 1200 there. I'm not sure what the 1100 is, but really it's just a minor speed difference on a maximum speed, and that's between the two power line devices.
Yeah.
If you can afford it, it's always best to go with the newer of the power line, because they made changes as time went by and the power line devices got faster, so that they can handle more noise on your house electrical lines without taking severe effects on your speed between the two power line devices. So between those two, I'd buy the PL 1200, but both of them are going to be giving you close to the same amount of speeds.
Awesome. Yeah, I do agree, especially with Powerline. I would recommend, if you can't afford it, $10. I think those speeds will be able to help, help be of a benefit, especially with Powerline.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
something I think is a little bit more niche, but I think the faster the better, especially with like depending on kind of like even the age of your circuits in the home. That could all have a factor. That's why power line is kind of like in its own kind of niche category, in my opinion. Like you have to have. If I were to recommend it to someone, like I want to kind of hear what your use case is, but might as well get more power out of your power line.
Yep.
Awesome.
And I happen to use the PL1200 at home here, and it's been rock solid and works great, so I can highly recommend it.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Cool. Yeah. Let us know if that works for you, Mike. Cool. We got one more question from Robert. With the CM1200 modem and the RX200, would it be better to plug my Xbox straight into the modem or the router? And this is for the purposes of the best Xbox multiplayer experience. Ben, you got a gaming answer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Straight into the router. You don't really want to plug anything straight in the modem other than the router. The router handles all the traffic on your network, so you don't have multiple IP addresses on your modem, and the router splits it across your devices, so you always want to plug into your router.
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree. Awesome.
Yeah, and also you're like some routers, like most routers, have like some limited quality of service and prioritization, and if you just plug straight into the modem, you're not going to get any of that benefit. So if somebody suddenly jumps on, let's say like a Roku television and starts downloading, Westworld at like 4K, that's going to impact your gaming, or multiple devices, a couple of Fire Sticks and a couple of Stadias, or if you have a Stadia or a Chromecast, that's going to really kind of take some chomps out of your bandwidth, and eventually that will, everybody on their phone or net, or laptops, especially working from home or schooling from home, every little bit is, you're going to want a little bit of some of that prioritization. You're not going to be able to get it just plugged into the modem. Whew, that was a little bit of a long way around.
No, but awesome.
But
that's
there's reasons for it.
And you also don't want to do that in general with your various home wired devices, because anything that's connected directly to the modem is going to be on a completely different network than anything that's connected to your router. And there are certain things that won't talk across those boundaries. So it is always best just to have the one connection from the modem to your router, unless you don't have a router, which is the reason why the CM1200 has the 4 Ethernet ports, is that's trying to bypass the need for a router.
Awesome. Yeah. That's something I personally didn't even know. I don't even think that's in the manual.
Yep.
No, but again, let us know if that works out for you guys.
And one other quick thing, Robert, because he's asking about the best multiplayer on Xbox. Make sure that your router and your modem, and see if your ISP supports IP version 6. Xbox prefers to use IP version 6 over IP version 4, because IP version 4 is what, 30? Correct me if I'm wrong, Michael. It's 32-bit encryption. Might be 16.
Yes.
Or it's 32, but
it is 32.
6 is 128. Even though the signal send is slower back and forth, that 128 carries more information, and with that actually means that it's actually a faster connection, even though the information is transmitted slower, because more information is getting across back and forth, which allows for like Xbox Live, Xbox Party, Game Chat, and gameplay all to be carried within that signal, and it just plays better on the Xbox at IP6. I switched over my CM 1000 and the XR 500 to that, and I have had a much better experience on Xbox.
That is awesome. I don't even know that either. I got the Xbox hooked up here, but I haven't actually. I wouldn't know that until I heard it from you.
Yeah, and you have to, and then once you have the modem and the router on IP version 6. Then you go into your network settings into your Xbox and make sure that it'll say that it's connecting both at IP4 and IP6. And a bonus to this is it gets rid of double NAT and NAT issues.
Awesome. So that's some exclusive tips right here for the best Xbox multiplayer experience.
And
yeah, this is new to me, man. If it helps me, I feel like it helps out a lot of other people, right?
I just downloaded about like 50% of my brain in that like 2 minutes.
That's awesome. But yeah, hope Robert that helps you out.
Yep.
You know, and keep those questions coming. Elio Roscoe, I think we talked about link aggregation a little bit. Feel free to let us know if you have any follow-ups. Actually, we're going to go back to link aggregation. Robert does have a follow-up.
Yeah.
Thank you, Robert. Can you expand on the link aggregation with my setup? Mentioned with the Xbox multiplayer setup just a second ago. How do I set it up, and would I benefit if I had 40 plus devices? Link aggregation is confusing.
Well, the first thing is when you're setting up link aggregation, there is sort of two terminologies that people use. They use link aggregation and they use bonding. And a lot of people think that when you're doing link aggregation, you're actually bonding two connections into one big connection. So for instance, if you're plugged into 2 different Ethernet ports and you do link aggregation, they think you're actually bonding those two. So you actually now have a single 2 gig port. And they're actually 2 completely different things. Most devices only do link aggregation. And what link aggregation does is it requires 2 or more ports that support link aggregation on both sides. In this case, he's talking about his modem to his router. The modem has to support link aggregation, and the router has to support link aggregation. Then you would go into the modem, you would turn on link aggregation for the 2 ports. You'd have 2 physical Ethernet wires going from those 2 ports into 2 ports on your router that are designated for link aggregation. You'd go into your router, you'd turn link aggregation on, and then now, anytime anything wants to talk between your router and your modem, they're going to use most likely something like a round robin, where if computer A wants to talk, it's going to choose one of those 2 connections in the link aggregation to talk out. Then the next device that wants to talk out will talk out of the second line. And they'll bounce basically back and forth as the requests come through for the different devices. For a single device and you're gaining, that's not going to have any big effect. And if you're not completely flooding a single gigabit line with all of your devices that are trying to talk out the internet at the same time, you're probably not going to see any benefit from it. But if you do have a lot of load and there's a lot of devices talking out, it will help simply because even though the bottleneck on the other side of the modem is that single internet connection out there, there will be less collisions of devices as they're all trying to talk through just one connection. So this allows it to speed things up a little bit faster. In general, though, you don't need link aggregation for the modem to a router. Link aggregation works better when you're, for instance, trying to connect a bunch of things up to a switch, and then the switch is going to, say, a NAS box, which means you're going to have a lot of devices that are trying to talk to your storage device at the same time and trying to pull data from it. And so you do need a bigger pipe to the NAS box. So that's pretty much link aggregation in a nutshell.
Awesome. Like, hey, I don't even get a lot of opportunities to even hear about it. We've been working at NETGEAR, so that was a really good explanation, Michael. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah. It was Robert. So let us know if that helped. If that made it a little bit clearer for you. And again, we're here to help. So thank you. Thank you for the questions. We got Tima Zalutsky. I have a NETGEAR CM1150V modem and a R6700 V3 router. This is the laptop question. What laptop is best for that?
Well, the particular laptop, as Ben mentioned earlier, it's just pick and choose what do you want out of your laptop.
Right.
But as far as the network card, you want to make sure that it supports 11AC, which pretty much every new laptop in existence supports 11AC. I did actually have someone with a problem just a couple days ago where their MacBook Pro was only getting something about 200 megabits a second off of his internet line, and he had a 1 gig connection. And the reason was the MacBook Pro was made in 2002. So it wasn't even supporting 11AC, it was supporting 11N, which is a Wi-Fi standard that was very old, and it was basically maxing out the Wi-Fi standard it had. So you want to make sure to find a laptop that supports 11AC, which pretty much all new laptops do. You could go to a laptop with 11AX, but there's very few, if any, that have 11AX. And with your modem, you're not going to get the advantages of the 11AX on it. Beyond that, what do you want out of your laptop? Do you want something that's easily carried around? Do you want something that's bigger and is going to be replacing a desktop? Do you want it to fold over into a tablet? All those extra bells and whistles on the laptop will pretty much be the most important thing for you. Your Wi-Fi connection, they're going to have 11AC on it.
Awesome. Yeah, it's really great. Yeah, again, especially when it comes to kind of like personal laptop preferences. You know, really the world's your oyster. There's a lot of laptops out there, but we do agree, you know, find something with the network card that is 11AC and is going to fits your network. Definitely not something that's a little bit cheaper and on the lower end or is older or something from 2002, because you won't be getting those speeds out of your router. But any really modern laptop should work well for you. However many more bells and whistles you want, you know, that's up to you. Cool. We got Ulaganath. Thank you again for coming back to the show. You know, appreciate our regulars. You know, we have regulars. You know, just kind of doing these streams over the time. So thank you for your support. Is there any reason the HT160 is grayed out and I need to change the country for enabling? If my NETGEAR X4S router in wireless bridge with 4x4 MU-MIMO, 1733 megabits per second, would one get closer to 150 megabytes per second as theoretical limit to 204? All right, there's a lot in here.
Yeah. Well, the first part is easy to answer with the HT160 being grayed out and having to change the country. Not all countries actually allow that to be turned on in their country. And so by changing it, it's basically changing it to another country where HT160 is actually allowed. It's similar to the DFS channels that only became available a couple of years ago in the US that Europe had used for quite a while. In the US, they were consumer-based, or they were channels that the consumers could not use because airports used them, hospitals used them, and so it was only recently they opened those up. And so we had routers that would support DFS channels in other countries, but wouldn't support them in the US because they were banned at the time.
Again, I didn't. That's all stuff I didn't even know. It's awesome. Do we have any insight into kind of the second part of that question? The wireless bridge, 4x4 MU-MIMO, would one get closer to 150? I mean, from what I see here, the theoretical limit is 204, but the way, again, you know, feel free to add any more clarification, but assuming yes, if you would get closer to 150 megabits per second, while the theoretical limit is higher, like real world speeds are gonna be a little closer to that 150 rather than reaching your theoretical. The theoretical is usually in like a lab, but your real world is gonna get a little bit lower.
Yeah.
And as long as he's connecting to the 5 gigahertz band, which is what the HT160 does, it basically increases the number of sidebands that it can use to push through data. So if you're connected on the 5 gigahertz, then theoretically, yes, the speeds could increase, but there is a lot of limitations, including what Wi-Fi device you're connecting to your router with. But theoretically, yes, you could get faster speeds because it's actually opening up more sidebands.
Awesome.
If your device supports them, though. If it opens up sidebands and your device doesn't support those additional sidebands, then no, you won't see any increase in speed.
Yeah, great information. Thank you, Michael, again. But yeah, Uligan, thank you again for returning to the show. Let us know if that helped. Holy8448. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I have a Nighthawk X10R9000, and I just got the SX10 switch. Is there any way on the website to have a hookup diagram for the fastest networking in the house? He's looking for hookup Synology with a NAS, wow, with both 1 gigabit Ethernet RJ45 ports to SX10.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something about a NAS plug into SX10.
Yep. And actually, it's funny that this question goes right to what we were talking about before, where I mentioned about connecting up a switch over to a NAS box. If that particular Synology NAS supports link aggregation, then you would want to turn the link aggregation on in your NAS box, and the SX10 does support link aggregation as well. So you can go into the SX10 admin screen, turn link aggregation on that, and then run 2 Ethernet wires between the SX10 and the NAS box. And that'll basically turn it into 2 gigabytes worth of data streams that can go through. So if you have a lot of devices that are trying to talk to it over the network and they're connected into that switch, you'll have a wider path to go down. It'll be 2 lanes going back and forth between devices, but you're going to have 2 lanes going through instead of just 1.
Yeah, the SX10 also has multi-gig on those two
Yep.
first 2 ports, so you could get up. If you have the 10 gig ports on the NAS, you could have up to you could aggregate that up to like 20 gigs, couldn't you?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, if the Synology NAS has that, but that's a really expensive NAS.
Yeah, that would be a very expensive NAS. But the SX10 does have that capability of it has 2 up to 10 gig ports in port 1 and 2. That's what makes that just a little bit pricier of a switch. I am not using the full capability. I have that switch and a NAS, and I'm still not using the full capability of that switch. That is how absolutely beefy that thing is. But yeah, unfortunately, we don't have a diagram for the fastest networking in your house, and the reason is because everybody's house is a little bit different. Everybody's situation. I mean, we could do an ideal in the lab, but a lot of times that doesn't really apply to most people's houses. We could set up what would be the ideal setup, but I think you're well on your way with that switch.
Yep, and I actually have that switch here connected up to a NAS with a 10 gig port, and I put a 10 gig card in my main PC, so I have that 10 gig path going directly through. It's not dual, but that single 10 gig path, I definitely see a huge difference when I'm doing file transfers.
Yeah, just the transfer speeds are going to be immense,
Yep.
and especially if you're moving large media files.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
like that's really cool because it's kind of the way I see it. I personally don't have that. I guess I'm jealous, but it's kind of like your personal cloud. That you could store so much data on it and it'll go blazing fast speeds.
Absolutely.
Again, yeah.
And my Plex server loves it.
Oof.
Oh yeah.
You probably keep that password down on lock with all those movies or everything you got going on there. I won't ask any more questions.
Moving on.
Awesome. So we got a little bit of a follow-up from Suarez. So he was having a couple issues with some sites work and some sites don't. This is as to pertaining to YouTube and also buying a router secondhand. So just to kind of reiterate, so when watching videos but out of nowhere, it'll say unavailable, like the Wi-Fi went out, but it didn't. And next follow-up, I can't update it by the support because I need to register the router to my account and it's already registered to another account. And those are the last 2 comments from Suarez. So Yeah,
Is this like a situation where we should probably drop the link?
yeah.
Yeah, because I think this is a little bit of a deeper issue. There's a couple. There's one that is the account problem, which is going to be kind of a longer issue, and then two is just trying to figure out why your Wi-Fi is going out, which is probably a firmware update, to be quite honest. I think the secondary issue, which is the Wi-Fi dropping out, is actually easier to solve than trying to get the account solved, but you can't get the second thing solved until we get the account solved.
Yeah, it's a couple of layers. Let me. I'm gonna reach out to my to our support team as well, just to make sure that they have a heads up that this email's coming in. But feel free to reach out to us at netgearteam@netgear.com and tag #stay connected. I'm just reading as I type. Tag stay connected in the subject line, and then we'll be able to know that you're coming from the show, and then we'll be able to help you out there. So, appreciate you giving us all this information. We want to get you up and running. I think there's a couple factors in here, but let's see what we can do.
Angelo, I put a link in Skype of anyone having registration problems. The KB has an email address attached to it if you're having any type of registration for your router issues.
Let me check that out. Oh, okay, got it. Here, so let me let me send you two things. Check out this KB article and let us know if this helps you out. And I'll also throw the email in just in case. All right.
And we have 1/2 hour to go, so keep those questions rolling. We'll try to get to everybody as best as we can. But just want to give that warning that we got 30 minutes to go.
Awesome. Cool. Who wants to lead off on the next question? I'm gonna go kind of.
Is this the one with Kumar?
We just left off on Swar. Yeah, this is for Kumar.
Yeah, with Kumar's. Yeah, and it looks like he's saying he can log into his NETGEAR account, same credentials. However, he can't sign into ReadyCloud account because them is invalid. There actually is a KB article that talks about how to link a ReadyCloud account if you have a mynetgear.com account. And I posted that in our Zoom chat. If you can post that into the chat for them.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, let me.
That would be a good article to check out.
And then we have Mike. Thanks for it's for all my testing to see. Suarez has a follow-up. I can't update the support because I need to register. It's already registered on another account. I think we solved that issue. Then BSC285 says, I have a NETGEAR Nighthawk X6, and I'm connecting through my WAN internet port as a router. My internet speeds are slow. How can this be fixed? So it has an X6 connecting to the
and then here.
So the X6 is a router. Kind of confused by your question here. ISP is AT&T fiber. All I can do is switch ports. Wi-Fi speed are doubled. But you're getting slow speeds. So he's connected to the AT&T fiber, connected through the WAN port to the. I'm assuming connecting that to the router, and then your speeds are slow. Just I would say make sure that you're connected from your fiber modem to the router at the WAN. And
if I can take a guess, I think what he's saying is that if he has the WAN port of the router connected to his fiber modem, and then he plugs into one of the LAN ports, he gets slow speeds. But if he connects his fiber modem just to one of the switch ports, the LAN ports on the router, and then connects into that switch, the speeds are doubled. So if I'm reading that correctly, then he's saying that going through the router from the WAN to LAN, is slowing down his speeds. But if he just uses the LAN ports on the router as a switch, then his speeds are double.
Mm-hmm.
That's my guess.
Yeah. That's
and if so, what are the speeds he's actually getting? How slow of a speed when it's going through the router? Obviously, he should be getting the same speeds as the LAN port, but it would be a good idea to know how much of an effect is he having on that. And the X6, I believe, has the QoS that you run in there, and it tells it what the maximum speed is that the modem is giving. I'll have to look that up, but if so, if that was run at a point in time when it wasn't getting the fastest internet speed test, it would be locked at that speed because it thinks that that is the maximum. So let me do a quick check on that, and we can get back up.
Awesome, yeah. And Michael, no worries. If you find something, swing it over to me, and then I'll be able to post the article in the chat. So BSC, we'll get you some help on the way. Robert, back. We got, what would you see the most common use of the other ports on the CM1200? So common use. So besides plugging in a router into a modem, what else would those ports be used for? That's the question.
Well, a lot of times it's because you're not actually going to be using a router. When you have those 4 ports, it's sort of an all-in-one gateway. So the person just has that one device, they have the one modem, and then they have up to 4 devices that they can plug into it, client devices. And that's the main reason why there's multiple ports on it. Also, a lot of times where your modem connection actually isn't where most of your devices are.
Yeah.
But there are some devices like your TV, for instance, or entertainment center that is right near where the modem connection is. So you can plug those directly into the modem because they don't need to be on the same LAN as the rest of your house. And
I would also say like central things, Michael, like a NAS or a printer or any sort of like network storage, printers, anything that is in common use over the entire network. I would plug it into those ports as well.
Only if the other devices that are in there are going directly into those ports and they're not going through another router.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, the NAS or the printer is going to end up on a different subnet than anything else that's connected to your router. So, for instance, if you're in Windows and you're trying to browse through the network browser, the file manager, basically, you won't find anything because that's meant to browse within your local network. So you want to make sure all of those devices that are commonly used are within the same subnet. But those things like the TV doesn't care. That can be plugged right in there. Your Xbox, for instance, can plug directly in there.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Awesome. Cool. Again, this is stuff that you probably won't find in your user manual. So, this is a good opportunity to get those questions in. So, thank you, Robert.
Did you cover the? So we're asking about the CM1200 ports, right? About you can assign. It can be assigned 4 public IP addresses in like a commercial business use.
Yeah.
No, we didn't cover that.
We did, yeah.
Yes. That's
good. And they can also be link aggregated to get 2 gigabit connections off of 2 ports if you have 2 public IP addresses from the ISP, and that's supported.
And you have 2 connections because having 2 public IP addresses through one connection isn't going to help because you actually have 2 different connections there.
Yeah, but looks like there's a bit more advanced functionality. I don't know if you're a small business owner, Robert, but in case you are, feel free to let us know what you want to do with your network. And again, these are little kind of tidbits of info that you really can't get anywhere else. So keep on asking. Awesome. I think that's what we got for Robert. Theo, we got Theo. Hey, I've been seeing your comments pop in. I want to shout you out. Theo's been a regular on Twitch actually for the past couple of years. He's seen our journey to kind of get to where we are now. So we appreciate your support. Unfortunately, we're not playing any AAA games. We're not playing League of Legends right now. I'm not playing my weird games. But if you have, hey, also he was a winner actually of I believe it was an XR 300.
I think so. Yeah,
XR
I
300.
remember correctly.
At our last Twitch Stream Week that we did during CES weekend. So, hey, if you're part of our community, we have these chances for giveaways. We have these chances for contests, and if you stick around, you might win something. So, thank you for joining.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we got another question coming in from Matt. I've read a few things online that state I should disable my router's PIN due to being easy to hack. Is that ridiculous interweb nonsense, or should I? The router PIN. I don't even remember the last time I put in the router PIN.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And is it ridiculous internet nonsense? Yes, it is.
If it's on the internet, it probably is nonsense. No, I don't know.
Here's the question. Like and not to be facetious, but like, where did you find this information? And if I was a hacker that wanted to hack into people's routers, I would also say, well, that security that router has, it's like a burglar saying, that deadbolt on those doors, I wouldn't. I would disable that because those are easy to pick those locks. You got to see where that information comes from. How disabling that. I'm all for more security on my network to make it like less susceptible to hacking than more susceptible to hacking. It's just treat it like it would make the same sense as you would like protecting your house. Should you lock the bottom lock and the deadbolt? Yeah, you probably should.
Yeah. Do what you can to protect yourself. Hey, if you got a source on that, Matt, drop it in the chat.
In the chat. I'd love to see where this.
We'd love to see
from.
it, and then maybe someone else in the chat, they'll come out with their pitchfork, or maybe it is true. I don't know, but we're happy to help. No matter what it is, really. All right, we got a Smart Connect question in coming from CCDB for their R7000. If a TV is hardwired to the router, which is on Smart Connect, and the laptop connects to the 5 gigahertz network, shouldn't the two be connected? Or if the device is on 2.4 gigahertz, can it be connected to the wired device? So from what I could interpret is, if you're on Smart Connect and you believe that two devices are in different bands, will they be able to see each other?
And the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Basically, when the TV is wired into the router, then you don't even, that has nothing to do with Smart Connect. All Smart Connect does is it's helping to decide which is the best band for your particular device to connect to. But anything that can connect up to your router, whether it's on the 5 gigahertz or 2.4, is going to be able to talk to anything else that's connected to the router, either wired or wirelessly. So all of them are within the same network. They all should be able to talk together. It doesn't matter which band that they're actually on.
Awesome. Yeah. So to drill it down, the answer is yes. They should be able to see each other. Really good question, because sometimes Smart Connect has we get a couple questions on it in previous streams. So let us know if that helps, and let us know if you have any issues with that, because we're here to help. We're coming down to our last 18 minutes or so. So we're going to get down to these last kind of questions. But again, if you guys got it, feel free to drop it now, and then those will probably be the last questions since we're starting to catch up. We got big thanks from Elio Roscoe in terms of the link aggregation. So straight to you, Michael. That's a big thank you.
Glad I could help.
With a lot of the gaming systems, the PS4, Xbox, and PC, with his Switch, along with the Smart TV. But on the other hand, we've got Robert, who is also kind of dealing with link aggregation on today's stream. He says, trying to get my multiple devices, my multiple connected devices to play nicely together. Most of them are light switches and Alexa devices, they aren't working well, so I thought link aggregation would help. So it seems like these are two different scenarios, but again, these aren't one-on-one, one-size-fits-all solutions. We got a follow from Robert saying it's between the RX200 and his CM1200. What I really want to know is it worth a shot? Is link aggregation worth a shot to help with the traffic? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
With the devices that he's talking about, like light switches, Alexa devices, link aggregation, it can't hurt to try it, because at least it'll do the round robin where each device that's trying to make a request is going to go to the other line. But it's certainly not going to be a problem with the total amount of bandwidth that you have, because those devices use minuscule amounts of data. The information that they're sending is so small that if you compared it to running a 4K video stream, it's probably 1/1000th of that stream, because they really just send tiny little commands back and forth. Now, if you have a lot of them, then there's going to get a lot of requests going into a queue. So link aggregation could help there, just trying to split up the number of requests onto two different lines so that they're not getting backed up as much. Chances are, though, link aggregation is not going to help with this particular issue. It's just that he's got a lot of IoT devices that.
No.
Yeah, and I found most IoT devices, they're not designed to really play that well with everything else on the network, and they can be really fussy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I do agree. I think when we're kind of talking about these high bandwidth devices, we're seeing a little bit more success. So that's kind of where we're seeing with Elio, PS4, Xbox, PC. Those are very bandwidth hungry devices. You'll probably be streaming things. You'll probably be, sending a lot of packets when you're playing online. Downloading whatever you're doing on your computer. So we could see these two different scenarios. But again, when you come to your IoT devices, those are going to be a little bit more finicky. Yeah, try it out. But if you don't get a big benefit, you can kind of have a little bit more of a reason and more insight into why that is. But that's what we're here for, Cool. We got Speedy using the NETGEAR app. Can I see what apps my kids are using in real time or see their screen?
And the answer is no, you can't. There is the live parental controls that you can subscribe to on some of our routers that give you a lot more control. But the just straight router that we have, if you go and you look at usage and things like that, you're not going to be able to see what they're actually connecting to. And as far as seeing their own screens, even the subscription for live parental controls on those routers that support it, you're not going to be able to see their screen, but you will be able to see where they're actually streaming from. For instance, some of our not older, but from 2 years ago, the Disney parental controls that we had in some of those routers, you could actually go and you could see how much time they were spending on YouTube, how much time they were spending on Xbox Game Server. You could actually control how much time they could be on those services. And you could actually see specific URLs that they were going to, but you wouldn't be able to see their screens.
Yeah.
Yeah, do agree. Yeah, so check it out. Even if you do have more information, Speedy, let us know what product you do have, and we'll let you know if it does have the smart parental controls capability. But yeah, it depends if you do have what we just mentioned, the one with Disney. It's called Circle. That one will have a little bit more insight into what goes on to your network, like what we just said. You'll be able to see what apps there are. You'll be able to set time limits. You can set bedtimes. You can set rewards. But if you're not subscribed to that, you won't have as much insight. So depends on if you want to take that next step. Cool. All right, we got a follow-up from CCDB. So I believe, okay, so the question is, would I have to connect everything by Ethernet cable? And I believe this is still coming from the Smart Connect question on the devices being able to talk to each other. So
he does say that his question was answered a couple down.
So great. I hope
but
the question was answered.
I hope it is. If not, just tell us tell us no, dummy. The
All
question
right.
is not answered.
Yeah, that's how much I
Yeah,
care.
if not,
I wanna get-
if not, the answer is no, they don't have to be. As
Yeah.
long as they're all connecting to the same router, wired or wirelessly, they'll all be considered within the same subnetwork, and they should be able to talk to each other.
Awesome,
Yes.
awesome. Thank you. Yeah, this is how much I care, to make sure that everyone has that we have time to answer their questions. But glad to know that it's been answered. All right, then let's go to BSC. Then we're back to when connected to the WAN port, the speeds are about 50 to 120 megabits per second. When connecting to the AT&T modem to the LAN port on the Nighthawk, then the speeds are at 500 megabits per second to 600. This is coming from an iPhone 10 or a Dell laptop. To kind of scroll up a little bit to see kind of where we're following up for. This was from the
Dell,
internet.
the Dell laptop. I can understand the speeds there. I'm not sure. It almost sounds like there's a problem on the WAN port on the router, because he's using both a wired device, the Dell laptop, which if that's plugged into the LAN port and his modem's plugged into the LAN port on the Nighthawk router, then the Nighthawk router itself isn't doing anything except acting like a switch. But he also mentions his iPhone 10 wirelessly, so it is actually going through the router, through its Wi-Fi protocols, and then back out its LAN port, and he's seeing those higher speeds. So it is down to the WAN port seems to be limiting the speeds that he has.
Mm-hmm.
My first recommendation would be to make sure, or actually manually download the latest firmware for the router, then do a manual firmware upgrade, even if you're on the same firmware, just to make sure that if there's any problems with the firmware, somehow it got corrupted on there, that all of that data is being replaced. Then do a factory reset on your router and run through the setup again and see if you're running across the same problems. Most likely you won't be, because that does look like you've got a bottleneck on the WAN port that shouldn't be there, because everything else seems to be working fine.
Awesome. Yeah.
Michael, do you think the AT&T modem could be a combo unit and he doesn't have a bridge could be causing an issue there, maybe?
No, because when he plugs it into the LAN port, he's getting the speeds that he wants. So that tells us that it is actually pushing out the the full data, the 500 to 600 megabits. So that should be what's hitting the WAN port on the router. And even if the modem isn't in bridge mode, that since you're getting that speed hitting the WAN port, it should pass that from WAN to LAN, and it's not.
Okay.
But a good idea.
Yeah, you got two voices of reason, at least.
Yeah.
To help you out there. So, let us know. We're back down to our last 10 minutes, but you know what I see? I see a bunch of regulars. So I see a couple returners. Theo, we appreciate your comments. This is a little bit of a different spin on the show. You've been along on a journey for Twitch for a while, but this is something that has found. I hope you guys are finding this informative and interesting or helpful in any way, because this is something that we actually haven't really done before. We've all been working from home. So This is coming because we listen to you guys, and you guys are putting in your comments. So thank you.
10 people like it. 2 people gave us a thumbs down.
Come on. Where are those haters at?
Yeah, and why did you hate it? Why? How do you not want us to help you?
Come on.
I guess
direct that hate to me. Don't put it to everyone else. This is it's a channel that I've been managing for a little bit, so you know what, you could yell at me. I could take it, I hope.
But shout out to M Dog.
M Dog
stopping by, and Gabriel.
And
Vanessa had a comment on our analogy about door locks. Yes, many people do. Many burglars do pass by the doors as well. There's many ways of hacking in. I just think that you should try to eliminate the most for both burglars and hackers. Steve has a sorry for a beginner question. No, don't be sorry. There's no beginner questions. There's just questions. I'm trying to reset my password for my R7000 router, and I keep getting the first NETGEAR name and mother's birthplace. I can't reset this. So logins seem to be the theme of today.
Yep.
I think we have that knowledge base article again. We'll drop it back into the chat, but that should help.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this one actually sounds like he's not having problems logging into the router, but that when he's going to change the password, since he mentions the first NETGEAR name and mother's birthplace, which we know isn't an admin name and password, so that isn't something to get into the router. It sounds like it's not taking any changes that he makes. One of the first things that I would ask is if he goes and he changes it and then he hits apply, does he see anything change on the screen, or does it go back to the name and password, the mother's name, and birth date? If it does change, then if you go and turn off your SSID or your Wi-Fi on your phone and then turn it back on again, do you see the new name that you created, or do you just see that NETGEAR name and then mother's birthplace? If you see the new name and you see the NETGEAR name and mother's birthplace, then there's something else that's putting out that first, the NETGEAR name and mother's birthplace, and not the SSID that you think you're changing. Most likely, though, it's just not accepting your changes. In that case, it goes along with my previous recommendation, which is download the latest firmware for the device, do a manual update on it, factory reset it, and then rerun through the setup, because that would sound like there is some corruption going on in the firmware that's causing it not to actually save the changes that you make.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just to follow up, he mentions this keep going back to the same screen. So
yep.
Yeah,
you definitely want to
so it's not
flash that firmware and do a factory reset, because it should be saving the changes, and if it isn't, there's something wrong with the firmware.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Yeah, feel free to let us know. We have 5 minutes, but again, we do this every week, as long as you guys keep coming, right? So we will be doing this next Friday, because obviously the chat is very populated. Thank you for that.
Super busy today.
Yeah.
It's good.
Going all the way till the end. You know, sometimes we got our filler questions, but you know, we got a few more questions here, and you know, a couple more fun ones. So let's see what we can do. It's kind of the rapid fire round. Dan Tuma, thank you again. Also a regular from the start. He has a new RAX50. So far, so good. Thank you. Okay. When I go to Smart Connect, I only see the 2.4 gigahertz signal. Any ideas? I don't see the 5. So it looks like Smart Connect is enabled. So I guess the question is, for me, back to you, is are you doing like a speed test and you're realizing that you're only connecting to the 2.4 and you can notice that speed? But that is my first kind of follow-up question, is that are you only able to find that out through a speed test? I don't know if you guys have any other kind of insight to that.
Yeah, why the 5 is not showing up?
But it's not going to show up if Smart Connect's on, because
Yeah.
there's one name. So
Yeah,
you're not going to see it. It's just the device has to connect to the 5 gigahertz when the router thinks it's able to, or thinks it's the best connection to give it. If you want to see the 5 gigahertz connection and connect to it manually, you need to disable Smart Connect.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's what the problem is.
Yeah, I think that it's treating them both as the same. So you're only seeing the 2.4, but it's actually you're seeing both of the channels. Is that correct?
Right. You're just seeing the single SSID.
Yeah.
And normally you'd have the two of them with the 2.4 and 5, but with Smart Connect, one of them is disappearing because you're only supposed to have one SSID, and it decides which band is the best one for you to be on, depending on where your client's located.
Hey Dan, so it seems like you put a follow-up. 5 is not on the list. 5 is not on the list because that's how Smart Connect works. Smart Connect is so you can't have
smart.
Yeah, you can have it.
It's smart.
And put it under one SSID or one Wi-Fi name, because just some people find that a little bit more convenient. If you want the 5 gigahertz network back, just disable it, and then it should pop back up.
Right.
Yeah.
And with Smart Connect turned on, it's similar to having an Orbee system where you have one SSID, so you don't have to figure out which one, and then it does all the work for you.
Completely agree. Awesome. Cool.
Awesome.
So follow from Speedy.
Yeah.
Sorry. Let's see if we can do this all in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. All right. son has 500 followers on Twitch. That is
That's
what it's called.
cool. That's a good thing. And it is
Awesome.
Twitch.
Yeah.
How do you? Is there a universal way that you can limit his time without stopping him? Gosh, is that a circle?
Yeah, circle.
That's
I
a
was
circle. Yes.
circle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if the router supports Circle, then you can subscribe to Circle, and that allows you to actually set time limits on how long they can actually be connected to the internet, or certain sites that get blocked at certain times of the day. So you have a lot of control. It is a subscription service, but it does give you the sort of controls that you would need. But you do need to have a router that supports it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Speedy, check out Circle on NETGEAR. You could check that out on our website. That is probably what you want, so you could actually see, hey, is he spending his time on Twitch or is he doing his homework? So that's our recommendation there. Theo, last minute, favorite work at home activity, go. You guys go.
Drinking. Oh wait, no, that's not work.
Oh, that's out of work.
Happy hours. That's a work thing. There you go.
It has been, but
That's true.
I'm gonna totally lame out, and I'm gonna say this stream.
Ooh. You know what?
I like
I'm gonna
that
shout
one.
out. Yeah, I'm gonna shout out the streams. My Tuesday streams. I've always been a background kind of guy. Now I'm just like, all right, you know what? I'm a fan of Mudrunner. That was a fun stream last Tuesday, so that was a good one. How about you, Darren? You got something quick?
Gaming.
Gaming.
Gaming's a work
Alright.
from
Hey,
home.
wait, that isn't during work.
That's a
Oh, wait.
Wait a minute. It
Oh,
is.
I didn't know it was during a work thing. I thought, what? That work? I'm working.
Just come on our Twitch streams and you could game for work. Awesome. All right, last couple
And a quick
questions
one
here.
for DCS there. He said he's already upgraded the firmware. The only other thing to do is double check that you actually do a factory reset on the unit. If you're still having problems after that, then I believe farther up in our chat, there's the link where you can actually email us, and then we can have someone from support give you some more specific help on the problem you're seeing.
Yeah, and I would also say for Steve that's still having problems with the login, scroll up in the chat and also find there should be a link to reach out to our support, and we should be able to help you. I don't know if Angelo can drop that in quickly.
Yeah.
As
Is that
well.
the product registration one?
No, he's having problems with the login.
Okay.
And then to follow up on Speedy, yeah, 500 followers, and he's making some money off of it, and he's doing well. I would encourage that because a lot of people are make quite a bit of money streaming. But yeah, I would definitely check it out. There's as a parent, you definitely want to balance school and fun. And the easiest way to do it would be definitely through the Circle app. Kumar, thanks. And we'll see you next week. And to those that we didn't get to, which is a first for us, by the way. We're going to drop in that link for you to reach out to our support, and we'll try to follow up. But definitely say that you were on the show, and that we'll try to follow up as best as we can. For those that we didn't get to, let's come back next week. We're here. And we're here for you guys. And thanks, M-Dog, for agreeing with me. I think that streaming is like, gameplay and streaming. I come from game development background, but really games going all the way back to hopscotch and stuff is really how I really believe that it's how humans share information, how you learn, and how you connect to people. So I think that gaming is very important to the human experience.
Awesome.
Wow.
I just wanted to thank you guys again. Ben, you did a very good job at kind of rapid firing everything off right at the end. So typically Alec, he's on the show, but he's pretty busy. We're gonna actually have him transition over. He's in the control room. Oh, he has his headphones in. He can hear me. Okay, cool.
Okay.
We're gonna do a little countdown.
Yeah. Oh, good.
All right.
But
Awesome.
yeah. So Alec is usually the MC for this, but I think that we did an okay job. We'll try to get Alec back when he has availability, because I really love his energy on the stream. But it's always a joy to have Angelo. We have.
Not good enough?
Those who have been watching us for 2 years, we have been slowly dragging Angelo out in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Much to his chagrin.
It worked. It worked. All right. Thank you guys again. We'll be doing this every Friday, as long as you guys are here, and then we'll see you guys then. So I'm gonna do a little countdown, and you're gonna see that now loading screen in about like 3.
Wait! I got one last thing to say.
All right, do it quick.
And big thanks to everybody that's hit the thumbs up button down. I can't believe I'm saying this, but yes, it does help us support this channel if you do give us a thumbs up. So
Yep.
we're doing.
One dislike went away. Someone retracted their dislike.
Yes, thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you,
guys. All right, we'll see you guys next week.
Gonzalez.
Thanks a lot,
We'll
guys.
see you next week. Thanks, everybody.
All right.